everybody, it's Miss Val again with this week's Sunday school lesson. Today we're going to talk about our emotions, and today we're going to talk specifically about fear, about being afraid. So raise your hand if you've ever been afraid before. I have for sure. I can see that's pretty much everybody been afraid at one time or another. But you know, God wants to protect us and to keep us safe, even when we're scared and worried about things, all right? So, let's see when you're scared, let's see what your face looks like when you're scared. Can anybody do a scared face? Right? Okay, what about if you're worried about something? Can you show me what your face look like if you're worried? Right? Good job. Now, God wants to take away your scared face and your worried face, and He wants to put a calm and peaceful face on you. So now I want everybody to show me your calm and peaceful face. Okay, go ahead. Good job. So that's what God wants to do for all of us, because He doesn't want us to be scared or to worry about stuff. So you know why we don't really need to be scared or worried? Because God will never leave us. He'll always be with us no matter what. So that's one good reason not to feel scared or worried. Okay? So that's what we're going to talk about. I have some friends here with me, some friends here with me today that I want to, who's going to tell us a story about being afraid. So hold on, and I'm going to go get them, okay? I'll be right back. Hi, everybody. I'm a Viking. I'm here to help you train your emotions, just like training your dragon, right? But we're going to train our emotions today, okay? So I have a friend with me. I'm going to have him come out. Come on out, buddy. Come on out here.
No!
Why aren't you coming out? What's the problem? Come on. It's time.
I'm afraid.
You weren't afraid last week.
I am now.
Pretty please.
No.
Hey there, fellow Vikings. I'm Herbert, and I'm here once again to talk about how to train your emotions. Unfortunately, my emotion isn't being very cooperative today.
I'm scared.
He's dealing with fear. I'm sure all of you have dealt with fear, haven't you?
Fear is scary.
Yes, it is, but will you quit that? There's nothing to be scared of here.
Yes, there is.
You know, when we are afraid, it can be almost crippling. Like we can't even move or do anything because fear makes us freeze up. It keeps us from taking risks.
That's not a bad thing.
No, it's not always bad, but fear can keep us from doing good things too. Like making new friends or trying a new hobby or coming out on stage and talking about fear.
Give me one good reason to come out there.
Because God is in control.
He is?
He's always in control. We don't have to fear anything. Not new places, not new people, not thunderstorms, not the dark.
Oh, why'd you have to bring up the dark?
Because you don't need to be afraid of the dark. God is in control, even in the dark.
God's in control in the dark?
Yes.
And in thunderstorms?
Yes.
What about airplanes?
Yes.
Gym class?
Yes.
Parties my parents take me to with no kids and nobody I know?
Yes.
What am I so afraid of? When I'm afraid, I can remember that God is in control and I won't be afraid.
That's the spirit.
Wow, I feel so alive right now. I'm gonna go bungee jumping.
Hey, wait. Can't you come back and talk about it for a moment? Oh, well, like you said, when I'm afraid, I can remember that God is in control. Thanks for listening to my story. I'm going to get Miss Val back here, and she's going to tell you a story from the Bible about fear, okay? So hold on just a minute. appreciate you, and thank your emotion for me, okay? Yeah, I hope he's okay bungee jumping. He doesn't have anything to worry about. Don't worry about bungee jumping. God is in control. So, I hope you liked my friends Herbert and his emotions. They talked about fear, right? And being afraid. So I'm going to read you a story from the Bible about how Jesus can help you not be afraid. This is a story called Jesus Calming the Sea of Galilee. One night, after a long day of preaching to the people, Jesus decided to get into a fishing boat with his disciples and to go across the sea to the other side. Leaving the crowd behind, Jesus and his friends got into the boat. And when they sailed into the middle of the sea, a storm began to kick up, and waves, and the boat rocked back and forth and up and down in the waves, and the storm grew stronger and stronger and more furious. Well, if you can believe it, Jesus had fallen asleep during all this in the back of the boat after they had left shore. And even though the sea was tossing the boat around, he was still asleep. But his disciples were beginning to get really afraid. They tried lowering the sail and throwing out the anchor, but nothing worked. They bailed out the water, and the storm still raged on, and the boat was close to sinking. Finally, they couldn't stand it any longer, and Jesus was still sound asleep in the back of the boat, so they woke him up. They said, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" With that, Jesus stood up in the boat and he shouted, "Quiet! Be still!" And the storm died down, and the waves grew calm, and the boat that Jesus was on stopped sinking. Jesus looked at his disciples, who were now soaking wet and shaking with fear. He said to them, "Why are you so afraid? Didn't you believe that I would take care of you?" Well, the disciples were no longer afraid, but they were amazed. They turned to each other and they asked, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him." So that's the story of Jesus calming the storm and helping the disciples to not be afraid anymore because he was with them. So when Jesus is with us, we don't need to be afraid either. And sometimes, it's easy to get afraid. Lots of things a lot of us have things that we're afraid of. In fact, I've got a bag back here. I'm going to bring it over here. And I've got this sheet of red, can you see that? This red sheet of paper. And I'm going to show you, it's got some things on it, right? But I have some balloons in here, okay? And on each balloon, I've written something that maybe we're afraid of, okay? So this first one is the dark. Sometimes we're afraid of the dark. Is anybody afraid of the dark? Yeah, sometimes it can be scary. But you know what? We don't need to be afraid of the dark. So think about this piece of red as Jesus. And when a fear gets close to Jesus, what happens? Ready? You might want to cover your ears, because when Jesus gets rid of a fear, it can be kind of loud. Are you ready? Oh my gosh, he got rid of that fear of the dark. What else is in my bag of fears here? Let's see. Here, let's see. This one says thunderstorms. I'm kind of afraid of thunderstorms. I don't like the thunder when it gets really, really loud, right? But we don't really have to be afraid of the thunderstorm because God is always with us, right? Jesus and God are always with us, and they're bigger than a thunderstorm, aren't they? So what happens when our fear of thunderstorms gets close to Jesus? Oh! Pop! It's gone, right? Let's see, what else do I have in my bag of fears here? Oh, I've got another one. Oh, bugs. Ooh, are you afraid of bugs? I'm not afraid of all bugs. Sometimes I kind of don't like spiders very much, but God made the bugs, and God is certainly bigger than a bug, right? So we don't really need to be afraid of bugs. We should probably, not bother bugs, right? Or get in their way, but we don't need to be afraid of them. God is always with us, and we just have to respect bugs, right? And give them their space, because we don't want to get in their way and get in their space, right? So we just have to respect them. And God is bigger than a bug, so God is always with us. So we don't need to be afraid of bugs, right? Remember, God made the bugs. So what happens when our fear of bugs and Jesus come together? What happens? Oh, it's gone! Pop like a balloon. So that's how Jesus and God take care of our fears. They just blow them up, and we don't need to worry about it anymore. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. And I also wanted to say, sometimes we're afraid of things we don't know what's going on, right? Like new stuff. Like, I know maybe you're kind of confused about, why do I have to stay home and not go to school right now? Or why can't my friends come over to play? Or why do I have to just talk to Miss Val or see Miss Val on the computer? So it can be kind of scary when you don't understand why things are happening. But you know what? We don't have to be afraid, because God is always with us, and God is bigger than any fear we could have. And He's always with us, even when we're afraid and we don't quite understand what's going on. If we talk to God and think about Him and ask Him to be with us, He will help us not be afraid. And you know what else He does? Is He sends helpers to us to help us not be afraid. So what kind of helpers does God send to us? Yeah, He sends mom and dad, right? And maybe He sends, if you have a pet, maybe your puppy or kitty, helps you not feel afraid. Or maybe music, or maybe watching Miss Val on the computer helps you not be afraid. So God sends helpers too. That's part of what He does. He's with us inside to help us not be afraid, but He also sends helpers to us to help us not be afraid. So the other important thing to remember about being afraid is to make sure, if you're feeling afraid, let somebody know. Like, tell mom or dad or grandma or Miss Val or Miss Cindy or Mr. Jerry or a friend of yours. If you're feeling afraid, let them know, because sometimes they don't know if you're afraid. And then if they know, they can help you and be one of God's helpers to help you not be afraid. And always remember, God is big. He's bigger than a dragon. He's bigger than a bug. He's bigger than the dark. He's bigger than all those things. So He'll always be with us. So we don't need to be afraid. Oh, I'm so glad you were with me today. And I want to remind you, next week we're having a special Sunday school where we're all going to be together, hopefully on the computer, and we'll get to see each other and talk to each other and have a Sunday school class about Mother's Day. So I'll be really looking forward to seeing you next week. So bye-bye for now.